Good morning and Namaste, my friend. Welcome to Namaste today in the Zodiac weather. My name is Stepº27 Witecki. I am the sensei to Sirius Troy, here to stand in my heart each day and walk in the light. Such a pleasure to light walk with you this week, my friend. I'm love casting live in 5 dimensions on this beautiful Temple of Gaia on Monday, February 16th, 2015. And over Valentine's Day weekend, we kind of made the push. The push was toward our vision and where we see our future, otherwise known as our Aquarius consciousness or our I belong consciousness. And today we are now at step 27. So we are high in the vibrations, my friend, and this is, in my opinion, the final act. You'll see in the architecture of incarnation here in a minute how the 2 and the 7 come together to add to a 9, which means we are taking action and moving forward. You, my friend, will want to do something like that today, something to put your plans into motion. This is symbolic, and this is also the way the matrix works. You have to kind of get things moving. We are on moving rock that's swinging around the sun, that's swinging around a galaxy that's rapidly expanding at an increasing rate. So motion is very important, as it turns out, and we are putting our ideas and our vision into motion. And in your Zodiac weather, I'll tell each of you where you are doing just that. But before we dive into those types of things, let's first tame our brain, shall we? With the phrase of the day. I feel my belonging. I feel God with me. And so it is. I feel my belonging. That is where I belong on earth, here, on, in that office, in that title, with that person. I belong. I feel that belonging today. So you call up that feeling of belonging. I feel that belonging. I feel I belong there. All right? That is a lot of your soul all coming into one consciousness. And this is an important part too. I feel God with me. Now, I used to say spirit with me, but now that I've been reading Conversations with God, I'm just like, this is God. And the God part is extremely important because that side of us, our psychic state of awareness, step 7, which is the God energy coming in, that's our guidance, that's our faith, that's our strength to jump. That is our knowing to move forward. That is the rest of all of what we aren't, right? Saying yes. That's why it's important to connect to spirit, because it's the rest of you, all of the part of you that is not yet manifested, that you want to make sure, is this correct? Is this what we want? And when the 2 come together, it's time to act. So today I feel my belonging, and I feel God with me, which means I'm going to listen as I go through the day. Now, the serious step of the day is step 27, Aquarius, and this is the architecture of incarnation I was speaking of. First of all, from step 20 and beyond, in any state of awareness, any sign, any zodiac transit, once we get to 20, we are feeling what we are becoming. That is the 10 days of the whole transit. We are feeling what we are becoming. That is mastery. And sometimes masters sit in that and do nothing. All they do is feel what they're becoming. Very common, actually. Masters can be lazy, as they say, or procrastinate at times. Then what we add, actually, is our senses of things. We feel where we're becoming, and I sense I need to go talk to her, or I sense I need to do this, or I sense I should probably do that today. So that's God with us right there, that sense, right? Telling us and gently guiding us, if we want to, listen to what the matrix has to say. And when the 2 come together, like I feel what I'm becoming and it also is what I sense, act on it. And by action here at step 27, we're talking you become that which you want to bring in. You go ahead and put on the costume. You go ahead and start the fire. You go ahead and get into it. All right? And take some sort of action. Some sort of, see, I told you I was serious, so to speak, to the rest of the consciousness. So how do the colors play out in our chakras? Well, for one, I feel I am becoming is the 3rd chakra. So if you have butterflies in your stomach, it's because you feel what you are becoming. Now, maybe your mind is not ready to handle that because the mind flows through the yellow as well. So you do want to get your feelings and your thoughts on board. That's why I always do the, in the very beginning to tame our brain. Can't think of my own segment name. Then we're going to do our sensory perception, our 7th sense of awareness, I sense. And that's where we're going to log in and just feel God and feel, well, what do I sense? I feel what I'm becoming, and now what do I sense? And then that brings in the root chakra, time to act. So when those 2 line up, yellow and purple, you go red, okay? And take it from a bull. Red means go. Red means go, not green. All right? So yellow is where you want to do a lot of your breath work today, in my opinion. If you do breath work, it'd be good to do at least 3 in the front and 3 out the back. And again, clean the windshield. Make your future be unknown to you. Do not project expectation, but rather observation. Okay? Do not project expectation, but rather observation. Project and observe what might be in the future. So let's look at the cycles and circles of things with the cosmic clock. Okay, here we are, and as you can see, we have the sun progressed to step 27, heading fast, 5,286 miles per second, that is, toward Pisces. And there's a party in Pisces, and it's going to ring our bell. I'll talk more about that in a bit. But we're teetering now on the edge of Aquarius, which means it's go time with our vision. Go time with our belonging. Go time with where we want to be. And with that party in Pisces, which we'll be talking about, we already have a big spiritual cushion waiting for us when we arrive in Pisces, which will be our actual relationship to our psychic awareness, our relationship to God, our relationship to the other side, our relationship to the not yet manifested. So today, step 27 is ruling the day. Now, this is what makes it interesting, is Mercury. Mercury is direct and now today catches the moon. In fact, it's actually a 2-part Mercury day. In the morning part, Mercury's at step 2, which means in the morning, in the United States anyways, we are mindful of our feelings. Then as moon crosses over Mercury, no shift, I'm not making this up, the Mercury goes to step 3. So the way I interpret this is that we will be feeling, where we belong in Aquarius, but our mind won't quite be on board. Those 2 parts of the yellow chakras are not quite lined up. Then the moon crosses Mercury. What does that do? It brings those two parts of the yellow chakra together in a moment. It's a calm. It's a peace. And in practical terms, it's where our mind catches up with our feelings or our feelings catch up with our mind. Either way, one of them might have been doming the whole time, but now the other is forced to reckon with the other, right? So this means our mind finally gets what we're feeling, or this is where we finally start to feel what we've been thinking about, really start to feel the passion of an idea. It can really kind of manifest in either way, but it's exciting, and it happens, and it goes from step 2 to step 3. Now, what's step 3? What I believe. So for the second half of the day, you just keep your feelings on what you believe about where you belong, where you believe where you belong, okay? Not do I have the facts, is it well-funded, what will God do when I get there? Step 3 is I believe, okay, in a very Southern Baptist sort of way. I believe. Now, Mars is at step 27 as well. Little tricky dick, eh? And that means that we have not just a day that adds to 9, but the creator of the 9 energy, which is Mars, at a high 9. Where's the high 9? In Pisces. So as we are jumping for our vision, we are also trailblazing our spiritual path and aligning our spiritual path with this vision. This is how consciousness gets sewn together, is by the arrangement of where big masses of it happen to be. So our emotions and our thoughts are sewn together. Our sun, I love, I love my vision in Aquarius, is sewn together with my ego saying, this isn't just a vision, this is my spiritual quest, this is in alignment with my soul. Now, you may say, Chris, what if it isn't in alignment with my soul? You'll find out. This is the part of creation, a mistake. You may have a mistake and have to shoot this scene again if you are not true to your heart at this time. But that's the jolly of being on this merry-go-round we call Earth. Now Saturn, heavy Saturn, which is the Sirius in the Sirius Joy as well to some degree, is at step 4, which means that our belief structures could go liquid at any second and suddenly believe a whole nother thing. Suddenly back a whole nother party. You may see Republicans turning into Democrats. You may see cats acting like dogs, okay? This is what happens when we suddenly believe we belong somewhere else. And so it is a slippery road, so to speak, with our belief structures. It's also a slippery road for the religious zealots out there A lot of people will be turning to the religious zealots and that sort of thing, which I think will be very popular and common in the next few years, as people who had nothing are trying to have something. So it's good. Consciousness is growing, actually, even if you don't personally feel like you belong in that religious zealot space. And then Jupiter is retrograde at step 16, which adds to a 7. That's God. So basically, Jupiter is kind of a broadcaster and expander. So we are all expanding our heart's connection to God by giving and receiving 6, adding to a 7. And so this is us being able to connect to source, which means that we can bring out and heal anything we want in our life if we want to. So this is a time that if your heart wants something, listen and say yes, you may have it. As soon as the universe can possibly bring it, it is yours. I promise you, I love you. Yes. So listen to your heart. It is very psychic, and for those who are who don't necessarily feel like they get along with spirit very easy, or can be psychic very easy, or the word God still makes you go because of church when you're a kid, which I'm sorry for. It won't always be that way. Then listen to your heart. Your heart is who you are. Listen to your little girl inside or your little boy inside, and that is as spiritual as step 7. The point is they are tied right now, and they are growing together. So looking at the conscious ladder, we're at step 27, which I'm calling the final act. And the moon moves into Aquarius here at the end of the day, which is going to allow us now to be on countdown to the second full new moon of this transit. We had a new moon at 0, and we will have a new moon at 29. And the moon and sun will dance across into Pisces together like giddy little school children. It's going to be a fascinating kind of countdown. So the universe is definitely threading Aquarius into Pisces in every step. But at this point, you're serious when you're probably seeing if it's all right. And then probably people will be jumping once the moon moves into Aquarius, the official jump. And by tonight, you're sitting on that consciousness. In fact, Step 28 rules tomorrow, which is I manifest, which is that you will go along with the feelings that you've had so far and be very decisive about what you want and not budge. So this is, I manifest is the Taurus, the big bull that will not move. And that's what you do in step 28. But today, step 27, take those actions. All right, let's take a look now at the Sensei sunrise. So today in the Sensei Sunrise, I want to continue with my exploration of higher consciousness and humanity at large, which is an Aquarius topic. And with this being my book of the month, Conversations with God, book 1, 2, and 3, I want to pull little quotes out that also talk about some of these high-minded concepts. Today I want to talk about education. Now, it's no secret that our education system is failing in the United States. Human beings are coming out not knowing who they are, not knowing what they want to do, not being qualified for work. You know, it's almost like as a parent myself about to send my son to college, I'm like, maybe should I save the money right now? Because what's he going to learn? He has no idea who he is or what he wants to do. And I'm not so sure that's the best way to go. Well, the cool thing about this book is God is very frank about it, actually, and says, you are teaching your children what to think instead of how to think. And that is true. I mean, all of school was think this and then take a test and repeat it back and repeat it back. Very much like a robot, very much like a soldier. Here's the fact, repeat it back. Here's the fact, repeat it back. And then when I went to college, I was stunned at what the truth was. You know, one example alone is Paul Revere did not wake up the countryside. He was an alcoholic. He fell off his horse early on, and some Jewish American actually finished the ride. But we were taught to memorize this fact. Right? And why is that? Well, it's because human beings want us to memorize what they want the version of history to be. They want us to believe that this is how it went down and we were good and we were noble and all these sorts of things. And that's not necessarily the truth or all sides of it. So it's time to teach our children how to think and instead of what to think. And that is to ask lots of questions, says God. And that's the second part. Always the treasure should be in the question, not the answer. That sounds very Yoda-like, too. That was one of the times God sounds like Yoda. Always the treasure should be in the question, not the answer. The treasure is in the questions we ask each other. And for us fellow lightwalkers out there who are always helping expand awareness, here's a hint from God right here. The questions. It's not about us convincing people of the facts. It's about asking other people key questions that force them to examine these parts on their own. And I think the more clever the question is the master here, versus going back and forth with perceived and argued over facts. In fact, I believe that, facts are completely relative to the perceiver. Quantum mechanics has proven that with particle or a wave, if you're familiar. So it is completely subjective. Therefore, it is about more critical thinking, more enlightened processing, balancing the ways and cons, and using our heart, which has no fact basis whatsoever, to help us with the decisions. That's my opinion. Now, God suggests devise a new curriculum and build it around 3 core concepts: awareness, honesty, and responsibility. Now, imagine if you went to middle school and for 2 hours you sat in awareness class, and then you went to lunch, and then you sat in honesty class, and then you came back and you had a break and you sat in responsibility class. And we could teach all of these subjects of history and everything. You need history to prove and show awareness. You need, for honesty, other facts, other parts of science, other parts of social studies can teach honesty. And responsibility, obviously, is all sorts of things from sports and whatnot. So the idea is to build up, to help our fellow brothers and sisters be people that we can rely on. That's what I wonder with the big business. It's like you're making all sorts of robots and whatnot out of people, but one of these people is going to be your nurse one day or your doctor, and maybe you won't be able to get that $1 million an hour doctor that you prize, and maybe you'll be under the knife of someone who went through the common system. And maybe science will tell that doctor one thing, but his honesty will tell him something else. And in that moment, this is where it comes back to bite us and hurt us as fellow citizens. So the final thing I'll say here with God is he says wisdom is knowledge applied. And that is, in essence, is that the facts really don't matter. It's what you do with the facts. That's what wisdom is. And if we have to ask ourselves, do we want to create extremely knowledgeable co-creator citizens, or do we want to create extremely wise co-creator citizens? And this is something I think we should think about in the new age. Say that 1,000 times. So in today's 11:11, for those of my subscribers to Sirius Troy, I will text you, where does action come easiest for you according to your biology and spirituality? And I have a matrix for it, my own name, but I'm not ready to put it out yet. But where does your action come easiest for you? What is your aim there? And then at 3:03 p.m., what is your key motive behind actions as well? So everyone can act very easily in one area of their life, and there's always something kind of driving that action. And those are the 2 parts I'm going to give you to help you ascend over ego today in our 40-day ascension program. By the way, if you would like to try Sirius Joy, I will give away a free 7-day trial in April when our beta is complete. And if you'd like to sign up, you need your time of birth and your date of birth, and come on down to SiriusJoy.com. All right, my friend, when we come back, I have the Zodiac weather and the rock and roll gospel after this.
Why does every guy cheat on you? Trust me, I know. How come girls always call you their friend? I can tell you. We'll talk about your strengths, and we'll talk about emotions. Secrets of Birthdays, now live for purchase. Check out yours at secretsofbirthdays.com.
So garden.
Welcome back to Namaste Today. And now for our rock and roll gospel. Now, I believe there are 3 ingredients to serious joy. 1 is love, 2 is laughter, and the 3rd is song. So I always try to bring a song that will help you with your personal gospel today. This one is a magical one, and we're talking about groups right now because we're in Aquarius, and that age of Aquarius, bands that actually got along and made interesting music together. It does happen every now and then. And today it's one of my favorites from childhood, the Moody Blues. You ever listen to this song, Your Wildest Dreams? This song has kind of got me going a lot of times through hard times when I was a kid. I was really doing a lot of dreaming, and there's so much moody, dreamy music with these guys. They're a group out of London. So many groups out of England, big bands out of England. I guess it's there's an ability to get along there as musicians very well. But the Moody Blues are awesome. Nights in White Satin is also a favorite song of mine that I'm going to put in the rock block. So listen to the Moody Blues and dream a little bit today before you have to step out and take that action in your life. But before you get moody and blue, let's take a look at the moods of each of your brothers and sisters today. And, of course, a little extra guidance, not just your mood, but today, what exactly you are moving ahead with. Now, remember, we're moving ahead 2 places, the Sun and Mars both. So it's really 2 states of awareness charged together first, starting with the Scorpios. Sunny and pensive today for the Scorpios, but you're moving ahead with personal emotional security and creative projects. You could also say you're moving ahead with love and personal love, so both. Personal emotional security, personal love, go forward now, my son. Step 1, the Leos, sunny and hyper alert and hyper aware. Then the moon moves into Aquarius and they become more sentimental. But you're moving ahead now with long-term unions and self-trust. Step 2, the Cancers, sunny and sentimental today, and then they get a little bit cloudy when the moon goes in Aquarius, but you're moving ahead with inner trust and your life purpose. Step 3 is the Sagittariuses, sunny and productive today, but moving ahead with a new attitude and a new home emotional security. Step 4, the Aquarians, cloudy, private, a bit withdrawn until the moon goes to their sign. They'll be feeling super sharp. But you're moving ahead with willpower and financial gain. So this is charging ahead, and in some cases just to get what you want. The Geminis, step 5, cloudy and private today, but moving ahead with life purpose and career future in one stroke. Step 6, the Librans, sunny, nesting, and resting with a chance of anxiety today, but you are moving ahead with personal dreams and combined lifestyle in one stroke. Step 7's the Pisces, the God service providers. You are sunny and feeling social, and then you go underground and personal. That's because you're moving ahead with inner faith and your willpower, which as God service providers is exactly what you're supposed to blend. Your faith and your willpower both. Step 8, it's the Capricorns, almost did it. Sunny and cool for most of the day, then they get productive as things move into Aquarius. Moving ahead with abundance, that's moolah, and peaceful thinking, which is, I know you think the two go together. Step 9, the Aries, sunny and professional today, but moving ahead with social belonging and how it relates to inner faith. And step 10's the Tauruses, sunny and passionate, but you are moving ahead now with career and your social reputation and development. Could not be more true. And then finally the Virgos, step 11, sunny, nesting, and resting today. But you are moving ahead with lifestyle, a healthy lifestyle that is, combined with the healthy relationship. So that's good. Now moving on to our Lightwalker Parade. If you're on YouTube, please be kind and do subscribe. It helps us with the relationship with them. And on Facebook, you can be our friend by going to soulgarden.me. You also see lots of posts there. And if you want to be on our email list and get easy links to our programming, come on down to soulmart.me and join our email list. I also want to point out I have a 15-minute step reading for this, just $39.95. So if you'd like to know your step number and you'd like to have 15 minutes with me, believe it or not, it will be deep and it will be recorded, and it's easy access. Availabilities are here in February. And I was on the radio last Friday. It was a pleasure, actually, to meet Dan Kroll and talk to him. You can actually listen in. Come to namaste.today.tv. I have a link that goes right to the recording, and I will also post it on our Facebook page. So if you'd like to listen in. It got to be a cool call. I got to talk about things I don't get to usually talk about. So I was excited. It was really good people meeting there. So as always, I am so grateful that you watch and grateful to be of light work and service to you. Come on down to the Mothership of Light, soulgarden.tv, anytime to learn more about me or the programming we make. I will see you in 24 hours with more, my friend. Remember, I love you, and live, love, be.
So ironic.